Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to Procrastinator's Pit Stop. We have another amazing guest for you today, Kessie Zhang, who is a mindset and career coach. So, Kessie, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here today, Chris. Thanks for having
Well,
me.
we're happy to have you here. Now, we have a really exciting topic here today where we're going to be talking about mindset, procrastination, and as it relates to, important decisions or career changes and things like that. But before we get into it, we do like to have an icebreaker on the show. And the question for you today is, which cartoon character do you resonate with the most and why?
I would pick Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I picked Belle because she is such a courageous person. She knows what she wants and she goes for it. This is it really resonates with me because courageous and really live my life to the max is what I have been really living. Even though I'm scared about this, but I know that is where I want to go and I would go for it.
So I like that one. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I like that one. And actually, it just occurred to me that Belle, it kind of fits into what you were talking about before, pre the interview, that where you were talking about moving to another country and having the language barrier and things. And if memory serves, she was essentially speaking a different language to everyone else because she read a lot of books and she didn't easily relate to other people. So I don't know, it kind of fits in that way too. So just before we dive a little more into it, Kessie, could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came to be where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. So I do have a day job as a data scientist at Cisco. I have over 4 years work experience in data science and analytics. So before I become a coach this year, I actually have been mentoring and teaching data science and analytics across multiple job searching agencies, where I have helped over 2,000 people on converting their job and land their very first job in tech. So to me, I have always been very passionate about helping people, mentoring people to help them achieve their goals in the technical way. And this year, I wanted to take a leap into something that is brand new to me. Growing up, I always loved learning psychologies. And in fact, that was the first major I thought I would major in. But because of the visa status, I wanted to make sure I can find my very first job after I graduated. So I changed my major in applied math, which is more practical on landing a very first job. That's what I thought, but it didn't really end up that way. But that's a long story short. Now that I have a stable job and have my life put together, I wanted to try something new to challenge myself on something that is completely different and I'm passionate about. So I decided to get a certification in life coaching. So I previously didn't know or didn't expect how much transformation I would be after the certification. But once I was in the program, I learned that there's so many things that the tools and the mindset that I've learned transform me. And in fact, I got my promotion because of this mindset transformation.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Kessie, thank you for sharing that with us. And you said that you wanted to do something, more challenging, something that you were passionate about. Do you think there was any defining moment when you decided that, you would go and be a life coach and mentor people?
Yeah, I always love about self-development. That is something that I just love learning. No one needs to force me on doing certain things, and I would naturally grab the books, I listen to the podcast, etc., to help myself feel better, feel more motivated, and actually start doing something. I actually didn't know what a life coach would do, and I didn't have any concept. But I love listening to Jay Shetty, and I found his podcast is very inspiring. That's how I came across with life coaching school.
Okay. And just digging into the topic at hand here, what is procrastination to you, and how do you define it?
Procrastination to me, meaning it means so many things. But to me specifically, because I'm a career and mindset coach, so I naturally think about how procrastination would hurt in career. For example, I know other people that I know, or even myself previously, that when I was so nervous about a specific interview, and I would let everybody know that, okay, I have this interview coming up. Don't call me, don't contact me, I'm not going out. But when I don't go out, I thought I would really do something like study, prepare for the interview because it's so important. But I ended up just watching shows, watching drama all day long, and never touch it.
Yeah, so we're back with Kessie. We had a little technical glitch there. So what you were saying that about the mindset and how procrastination, and you had this important interview, but you just found yourself talking in, or I'm sorry, you just found yourself going into shows and watching movies and different things.
Yeah, and I end up not doing anything. Time flies, and one entire day passed. I thought I would really dedicate it on preparing for the job interview, but I didn't do anything. So that's how I see procrastination on hurting me. Because when I care so much and I wanted everything to be perfect, I end up not doing anything. And that is one way that caused procrastination in my mind.
And where do you think that procrastination comes from? I mean, in just in your example, when you were looking at preparing, but you preferred to, and I've done this too. I mean, everybody's done this too. But where do you think that sort of hesitation comes from, where we'd rather be, you know, watching a video or scrolling through Instagram instead of actually doing the thing that we know is important?
I think it's fear. It's the fear of failing, the fear of not preparing enough. A lot of people, including myself, when things are scared, we tend to just not do it. And that also hurt us because if things are scared, that means you have room for improvement. So I would encourage everybody, including myself, to just start doing anything that scares you one day at a time. As we do it more and more, for example, I used to be so afraid of public speaking. I actually remember myself growing up shaking when I do any presentation. I just really scared about this. But as I do it more and I even join a Toastmaster to improve my public speaking skills, I realize it's not as scary as I think. And as I practice more, I become better. The same goes to interview. If we are just keep practicing, asking ourselves some questions, even not doing the interview, we are actually practicing enough every day. So when we actually put in those situations, we might be like, okay, this is another practice session. I've done it enough. I don't have to be perfect. I just need to let people know this is the real me. This is who I am. This is why I can.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. So would you say that the main thing in terms of mindset for kind of overcoming the procrastination is just practice, practice, practice?
I think overcoming procrastination, one way that really worked for me is even though it's scary, recognize the fear and do it anyway. For example, I'm going back to the example. We know the interview is so important. We also know that we need to get started. But watching shows is so much easier and it's not scary at all. So one thing that really helped me is maybe set a timer to say, okay, today at what time I have to start preparing. Yes, it can be just a 5 minutes, just a 20 minutes. You set a timer and just say, okay, I'm only going to study for 5 minutes. But as soon as you get started, it's easier for you to just never put your mind on doing something. So just get started with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. People don't know that you're studying for this. No one is going to judge you, but you are the one that keep pushing, and you will never achieve better and never become the version that you want it to be if you never take any actions toward it.
That's well said, well said. I mean, if you don't take any action, you don't really go anywhere, right? So that's I mean, you have, well, I mean, you don't have to do anything. I mean, there's always a choice, right? So when you're working with somebody, Kessie, or say somebody comes to you and says that I have this, I have this fear around this interview. how would you start working with that?
I would need to understand why, what is the reason? Because what I'm sharing with you earlier is just how I see procrastination and why I think it caused my own procrastination, which is perfectionism. But not every single person have similar cause on why or similar reasons on why they procrastinate. And being a life coach, we're asking some questions, trying to help the clients know what's the cause. If we know what caused the procrastination, that is the awareness we need in order to make the change. If we don't know what is the reason, we will never be able to actually stop it and change it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the things that just came into my mind too, as we're talking about procrastination, is that do you think that that same underlying cause could keep us stuck in the same job for many years, even though we're unhappy because maybe we're just too afraid to try something new or push that envelope?
Yeah, definitely. I have some clients tell me that they want to do certain things. And for example, the clients have been working as a data analyst for 4 or 5 years. This person have the skills to do machine learning, which is what she wants to end up be doing, and a machine learning engineer. But because her day job as a data analyst is already good enough, like really good. But jumping into machine learning, meaning it's a completely new path. So of course, you know how the job markets go. People see that you don't have any experience and they say, sorry, we are going to choose another candidate. If this client just stopped there, she would never be able to achieve the machine learning engineer position because of the procrastination and fear of failure. Procrastination in this case would be, okay, I have good enough. I don't have to. So let's wait another 2 years to see if I really love my current job or not, right? When we're at a really comfortable stage, procrastination would exist because we will always think what we have is good enough. We don't have to. So the drive is not strong enough for them to actually make the change. Yes, even though they keep saying, yeah, I want to be blah, blah, blah. I want to get to blah, blah, blah. But when they're not really, really that passionate, that driven on get to the other side, we might just stay in the comfortable stage and decided to procrastinate.
Yeah, that reminds me of that saying, when the why is high, the cost is low. And I know that when you work with clients and when I've worked with clients and I work with clients, if that reason isn't there, then it's just not important to you. But then, in that sense, procrastination can actually be almost like a defense mechanism, right? Because not always, mind you, but sometimes. So I want to go skydiving. I say, oh yeah, I'm going to go skydiving one day. I'm going to throw myself out of a perfectly good plane, and just go skydiving. And I find myself putting it on the I'll say, okay, yeah, I'll go I'll go someday. And then when I start to actually try to plan it, I say, oh yeah, okay, maybe this looks like a good month. And then it just never happens, right? Because it's not something that really resonated with me. And to be honest, I don't even know where that came from because it's so not me, like jumping out of a perfectly good plane. But what do you think, or why do you think we come up with these things that maybe just don't align with us, and we set out to do them and then we just don't?
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to answer the first part of the questions where you say, why do we think that we come up with those ideas on, oh, I want to be that, I want to be that. In my mind, I think life is a journey where we love exploring new things. At least in my life, I love challenging myself to do certain things that probably not me. So I think for me, I enjoy the journey of climbing up. I might not get to the top of it. And when I get to the top of it, I want to continue climbing. So my life, the way that I see it, is an endless mountain that I just keep climbing. So for example, I mentioned that I recently get a promotion. So I have been climbing, and now I'm at the top of the little hill. To me, that little hill, it's here. I achieved success. So that fulfilling moment of, oh, I tried so hard and now I finally get to the top. Yes, it would just last for a couple of days. And then after that couple of days of rest, I feel like, okay, now I'm ready. I took the break and now I'm ready to climb up. So I think in my mind, in my life, I would love to try different things. And I think that is why I chose life coaching, because it's a brand new journey that I never really see myself become. And I would never know what's out there for me. I just wanted to climb. I just wanted to see what the top feels like. The second part of the thing you were saying, can you repeat it again?
Right. So, I mean, another way to look at this too is how we get caught up in New Year's resolutions. Personally, I've made one resolution in like the last, man, I don't even remember when I made that resolution, but I've kept it every single year. And that resolution was to not make any resolutions. Because whenever somebody makes a New Year's resolution, it's almost like they're caught in the heat of the moment. Maybe there's peer pressure on there to well, what am I going to do this year? Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows what they're going to do. So they just make something up and then they don't do it. And then they wind up feeling frustrated, or maybe, they feel a little down because they didn't do this thing that they said they were going to do when they, had a few drinks at a New Year's party, right?
Yeah, well, that definitely happened to me. I remember I once put a New Year's resolution list, like 10 items. And then at the end of the year, I look back, I forgot every single thing that I wrote in this New Year resolution. So lesson learned from my experience is that right now, I also stopped making any New Year resolution at the beginning of the year, but I know what are some things I want to try. So for example, at the beginning of this year, I told myself that I either want to pursue a yoga certification or life coaching. So those are something that I'm very interested. Those are something that I want to learn more, because I know my goal is to try something new, a new path that are separate from what I am. I mean, from what I'm already been doing. So that was my New Year resolution, and I didn't specifically say what that would be. And I kept discovering and exploring what that would look like, which one would resonate with me the most. And I chose that. I I don't really have any recommendation on how other people would want to do their New Year resolution. But now that we have probably like 50 days left to until next year, I wanted to say it's never too late to say what you want to do, the transformation you want for the year. It doesn't have to be the beginning, like January or February. It can be any time of the year you say, this year is going to be the year of blah, blah, blah. And I think that's very important, because if you are so driven and passionate about this year is going to be just one thing, I think that would help make a big difference on really making it not a dream, but an execution plan.
And that's very good and very good insight. Something you said really stuck with me just now. And actually, this is something in terms of mindset too. So when we're talking or when we're thinking about things, we switch from, maybe I want to try something new, or no, I'm sorry, I want to be stronger. I want to be more confident. I want to be more resilient. I want, but at some point, that I want has to turn into I am in order for it to actually manifest, right? So how would you go from I want to I am? And what does that process look like?
Yeah. Everybody's process would be different, but I wanted to share my own journey. So I hired a coach this year as I was trying to launch my business earlier in my business journey. And I say to my coach that I don't see myself as a confident person. I want to be a confident person. That was the topic I want to work with my coach to get better. In one of the sessions, my coach reminded me because of all the stories that I have shared with him. And he said, Kessie, you came to the US when you were 17 and I was studying abroad. Now I have a job, I have a life, and now I have my business. And at all those lectures, whenever I felt really not sure what the math teacher was saying, I raised my hand. I was a math major, by the way, in college. So I raised my hand, make sure I know the answer. And this person, this coach, he reminded me all the stories I share with him, and he said, I am a courageous person. That message resonated with me. And whenever I feel like I'm so scared, I'm so scared, I would remind myself that I am already a courageous person. I have done all those things in my past, and now I can do it again. I think it's short answer is that when we write down all the wins that we overcome, etc., we can tell ourselves there might be some patterns that made who we are today. And those success stories is who you are. It's who I am. Let's say I say, I want to start my business, but online business is not the same as actual business because people might not know we exist. So the challenge is how do we let people know that we exist? How do we know other company or other business exist? They market us, they do promotion, etc. So in a way, I would say if we start thinking about we are already having a business, what would you do? Instead of saying I might procrastinate. But if I say I already have a business, I have to do promotion in order to let people know, I have to reach out to people in order to let them know that I exist, I can help them. That is the difference between I want versus I am already doing it.
I like that. I really like that. Thank you for sharing. So just to sort of sum up, it's more about, if I want something, it's like I'm always expecting it to come, but like tomorrow, it never really comes because tomorrow becomes today. So you have to switch that and say, well, I am this today, and how do I get, better?
This is the similar. Sorry about the technical issue. I was going to share this is similar with career like job interview because during those interview, if we have the mindset be like, I want this job, anyone might seem so desperate and forget that they're also the person interviewing the company as well. Any candidate have the same right to evaluate if this company is the right fit, this role is the right fit for them or not. If we put into, I really want this job, we might forget that we are already a really good candidate, that we can help this company. So when we change the mindset, be like, I am already working for this company. What are the ways I can help this company to resolve? This is a really typical, maybe data science or product manager questions. They would throw a question and ask us, how would you launch something? What are some ways to measure their success? As a candidate, you might have a lot of ideas on how you would do this, but I have seen a lot of people, including myself previously, I get so scared. And I always look at the interviewer's eye and feel like, okay, am I doing it right? And the interviewer like, no, what are you saying? And when we care so much about this and also care about, I really want this, we forget that we are already a great asset.
No, I love that. I love that you brought up the fact that, while you're sitting in an interview, sometimes you're looking at somebody's facial expressions and, honestly, you're not, and we tell ourselves these stories like, oh, he just made that face. Well, you know, is it more likely that he's thinking that your answer was bad or more likely that he was saying, oh man, did I forget my keys in the car? Or did I pack my lunch? Or like, is this, and it's like, man, I don't want to be doing this interview right now. So, I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be about you.
Yeah.
So Kessie, it seems like that you've got lots of big plans. Where would you say that you see yourself in the next year?
In the next years, I would be more serious about my business. This year, I am new, so I'm exploring what or some strategy will work for me. So I basically have my experimentation hat on to understand what strategy will work for my business. Next year, my plan is to really come up with the strategy that I experiment, the results that I learned this year to put into action. For example, I will be launching email lists. So for any audience here who would be interested in learning how mindset and career, this would be a good time. You can subscribe to my free email list and be able to learn more from my insights.
Excellent. I love that. So we'll get the details on that before the end. And just to all our listeners, don't worry, we'll put that into the show notes as well afterward. So I know we're coming up close to the time here, Kessie. It's been a good conversation. Do you think there's anything that I could have asked that I didn't ask, or anything that we could have talked about but we didn't talk about?
I think you have asked a lot of great questions, so thank you so much, Chris. I would like to ask you a question.
Okay, it hit me.
I know you asked me about what do I see as procrastination. So I'm curious from you as procrastination coach, how would you define procrastination and what are some great ways that help you or any of your clients the most efficient way that you would like to share with me?
Yeah, they see now. This is something that full disclosure, I tell a lot of people is that there's 5 pillars to procrastination, and it really depends on which pillar you're in, what's going to work for you. So the first thing I usually say is procrastination is simply put just it's the act of not doing something that you feel you should be doing. I don't use the word need or use the word have to because everything in life is a choice. So all it is for some reason you're putting off something that you feel you should be doing. And really there's no real silver bullet to that. But the one thing for sure is to know yourself. So if you know you're procrastinating on something, then really analyze that task, get into it and into the why. Because once you know the why, then you can start to have strategies to get over it. A lot of the common strategies include, time blocking, making sure that you get enough sleep, making sure your energy levels are good. Mindset plays a big role in it as well, how you think about things. And just really being able to have self-compassion too, and just understanding that it is in a lot of cases a defense mechanism. So it's kind of trying to protect you, even though it's not doing it in that great a way.
I totally agree. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem. And thank you so much for being on the show. Just before we go, what is the best way for our listeners to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on my Instagram at Kessie Zhang. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. And by the way, I also write technical blog posts on medium.com. Follow me.
Excellent. And to all our listeners, again, we will put that in the show notes. I encourage you that if you have any questions on mindset, reach out to Kessie. And, as we're wrapping up here, thank you so much for listening. And just remember, if you can't find that motivation or inspiration for yourself today, just go out and try and be that inspiration or motivation for someone else. And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.